Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Living on Blockchain. Today we are speaking to Priyanka from WazirX. WazirX is one of the best exchanges for cryptocurrency in India. She's working there as a chief of staff. She's been there with WazirX since day one. It has been a very exciting journey for her. Moreover, it's always really fun to talk to women who are, path breaking in this space and creating a dent in this space. I believe representation is so much more important than we think in order to sort of get the gender gap to shorten massively. So this was a really fun conversation. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. Hi Priyanka, thank you so much for taking out the time to speak to us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Tarusha. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'm really glad that we could get around to doing it. It got postponed so many times due to my own troubles and this COVID time. So I'm just glad that we are finally getting around to doing it. But really, thank you so much for coming. For the benefit of our listeners, could you give us a little background about yourself and how you got into this space?
Sure. Well, to be honest, I got my first crypto, which was Bitcoin, in around 2014. But
Yeah.
that was it. I didn't do much reading about it. But that was the point when I had got familiar with the concept of crypto and Bitcoin. However, it was actually in 2017 that I got really involved in it when, of course, there was this onset of bull run. And the first token that I bought with my own money was Ether, and it's pretty
Hmm.
close to my heart. And of course, and then I ended up pursuing a career in the crypto space by joining WazirX. I handle marketing and communications at WazirX, and I've been associated with the exchange since pretty much day one.
Wow, okay, that's quite a journey. And what you said about Ethereum, I think we're in the same boat. I think Ethereum was one of the first things I purchased as well. I've been around since 2012, 2013, and set up
Oh, wow.
mining rigs, and that was like an Ethereum mining rig. So I think Ether would always be very close to my heart as well. So yeah,
Oh,
I
cool.
believe that we've been around in the space for a really, really long time. So talking about WazirX, what exactly is your role there? It's one of the best exchanges in India, and you guys are doing a fabulous job. It is my go-to place, for any kind of crypto transactions that have to happen in India. So, yeah, could you tell us a little more about perhaps your role in WazirX?
Sure. See, as of now, I oversee PR, social media, and listings at WazirX. But I think until probably early 2020, I used to do pretty much everything. I was the only
Mm-hmm.
one in the marketing team in WazirX until I think May, when we started expanding our marketing team. So yeah, until then, I think I used to do, I've done social media, I've done content, I have, like,
Mm.
of course, like done PR extensively. So yeah, seen all the major things there. But right now, I'm solely focused on PR, social media, and the listings for now.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
it's
No.
very
Again,
interesting.
this is. Go ahead.
No. I mean, I was just like while talking to you, I just started thinking about those the major milestones we have seen in our journey right so far. So like when the banking circular came, the ban came into effect, and then the India Wants Crypto movement, and then of course how the ban was
Right.
upturned in the Supreme Court of India and so on.
Yeah, no, it's been like a bumpy ride to say the least, but it's been an
Yes,
exciting one.
yes.
That much, I can also say. But I understand that with this entire, the journey that Wazir is kind of charged with obviously is path breaking. Like I had co-founded an Ethereum, one of the first Ethereum exchanges as well, but we had to kind of shut it down and pivot to basically another fintech platform, primarily because of the banking services revocation order that had come into place. So I know that it hasn't been easy, but the fact that we are still here says quite a bit. We are here for the long game.
True. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So what is your outlook towards the whole, the policy status in India, like vis-a-vis crypto?
Well, I mean, recently, like if you had read the recent news that how the Indian, finance ministry is looking at setting up boards for regulation and all in India. So that is pretty optimistic to hear. And I think that is
Yeah.
also the need of the hour, because when you look at what other countries are doing today, especially, countries which are way ahead of us today, like Japan, you look at Switzerland, you look at like what other like European countries are doing. So, and I think India really needs to step up its game today if we want to stay ahead in this competition, right? Because
Right.
see where like from where I can see we're in the dot-com era right now, right? Like just before the whole breakout happened, we are in that phase, right? And this is our chance to either we like again be laggards like we were in the dot-com era, or we just step
Hmm.
up our game and we become the pioneers here. And the thing is, we actually have the talent to do that. I mean, even look at us today, right? With the whole regulatory,
Right.
despite the regulatory uncertainty, how there are like projects, crypto exchanges, crypto projects, like people who are doing amazing work here, right?
Yeah.
And just imagine what we can do with proper regulations and with the government having our back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree with you that, the talent in India is absolutely immense. And we have unique opportunity right now to either, be pioneers and innovating in this space, which is just going to grow because right now it's just in its infancy, the technology, or we can be laggards, as you said. It is exactly right
Mhm.
before, how the internet had kind of progressed. So even I believe that with any kind of a new thing, people are, if they're unable to understand it, then there is fear around it, right? This goes for life or business or anything for that matter. So I believe that fear stems from the lack of understanding more than anything else.
Agreed. Absolutely. You know what? So this fear thing that actually reminds me of our very early days at WazirX, because like I
Right.
mentioned that how I used to handle PR, right? And I
Hmm.
remember that in 2018 probably you wouldn't even read about crypto exchanges back then, right? I think WazirX probably, like, I wouldn't be wrong to say that we were the first exchange that started coming in news, right? And this took us a lot of
Right.
time and efforts and a lot of relationship building with journalists, because they were so afraid of crypto. They had so many misconceptions around crypto that like a lot of people, they refused to talk to us because they thought it's illegal, it's shady and
Right.
everything. And it took so much of
Hmm.
convincing and talking and educating to do. And now, of course, people, I mean, it's so like heartwarming to see now, journalists how they've opened up, the media has opened up to crypto, and they're realizing the potential of this technology, that it's not just like a bubble, right? It's here to stay, and they want to understand it more. And now I'm seeing the whole zeal to learn about crypto, instead of like judging it as something as as shady or anything, and just like striking it off.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I believe that there has been a drastic change where, especially in the last 1.5 year, that, we have seen vis-a-vis the perception that people have regarding crypto. It might be just because, some people can seeing it as like a new space to invest or make money. But there is more curiosity that goes, that is definitely there. And you guys have contributed immensely as well to the, the entire movement that India wants crypto movement is all initial. So, more power to you guys. And especially the kind of initiatives that you take in terms of educating the end user, with your academy and other pursuits, it is absolutely commendable. So I believe that, you guys are really path breakers here, and what you are doing, it is absolutely commendable because, as I said, and I'll say it again, that, WazirX is my go-to place as well. The UI and everything, it is really so much better as compared to the other exchanges that are available.
Thank you, so good to hear that.
Yeah, no, I mean that, and you guys like you guys are doing a fab job, so that is wonderful. So now talking at the business end of things. So in case if there are a lot of trends that come in this space right now, the NFTs are making a lot of noise, and there is a lot of noise around them. What is your take on NFTs?
NFT, definitely. I mean, it's like art 2.0, right? And even when you see like a lot of artists, and they getting into NFT, and even like old school Bollywood singers, they jumping into it, and it's good to see them again like accepting technology and the fact that they are willing to experiment with it. And I mean, it's pretty cool, yeah, that today if a artist, they mint their NFT, and then of course, like the fact that it's tied with blockchain, and it's just like there on the ledger, and the way that they can earn royalty despite like a number of copies might exist. I think NFT is probably tech's way of, how to say this, like giving it back to the creators, like giving them their share of dues, which is probably not really done a lot today if you look at in music industries or art or anywhere so yeah.
The potential in the NFT space is immense, absolutely. But some people are afraid about how to, where will this really end up and how will it scale? Because ultimately, these are non fungible tokens and, it's very subjective, right, to put a price on them.
Mhm.
How do you see this space scaling?
But I don't see putting a price on NFT is really an issue, right? Because when you look at offline, it's I mean, it totally depends. See, to someone, like for example, for someone like something like even a Mona Lisa could be. just a woman smiling, right? Like you really don't care about like an artwork like that, right? But again, there are people, who are avid collectors and who see things differently, of course. And it could be like anything, could be music, same goes for it. So I really don't see any issue with that. In fact, I think it's more like I think we call it network effect, right? So with
Yeah.
more and more creators coming on board to NFT, we'll also see more collectors coming and to be a part of it, right? Because see, if you are crazy about art, any form of art, you will find a way to get access to it. And we have people like recently someone who paid like millions for this artwork. I mean, yesterday only I think we read about some old meme get auctioned off for
Yeah,
like a
Charlie
huge
bit me.
price, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Charlie bit
um,
me. Yeah.
Yes, so we'll definitely see more and more collectors come into this space, and at the same time, I think that will also encourage more creators come in the space. So I don't see any issues with scaling of NFT.
Yeah, I think that that kind of perception is absolutely correct. It's about the creator's economy and creating that and kind of scaling
Mhm.
that. Ultimately, the beauty kind of lies in the eyes of the beholder. These are collectibles, and nobody really asks why is Mona Lisa priced at whatever it is priced. Like it's priceless, right? So your point is really well taken regarding this entire NFT space. I have usually had a concern regarding where would it end up. I believe there is immense potential here, but again, with the crypto space or with this technology, it's very hard to say where anything would end up. We are just here, like, and we can observe, we can be a part of the ride, but it's very hard to say where would it really end up. But yeah, having said that, I believe that yes, the potential here is absolutely immense. So apart from NFTs, DeFi has been making a lot of waves all over. That all kinds of
Mhm.
DeFi services are available, and they keep making people's lives much easier as against, with the banks where the Ethereum is high. What is your take on the DeFi space?
I'm definitely intrigued by DeFi. In fact, WazirX is also building a decentralized exchange, right? And even here, like over like at WazirX, of course, we know that see eventually the whole shift. I'm sure in the next few years, probably in a decade, we are going to see a major shift from centralized to decentralized in like overall the ecosystem, right? And of course, like there are amazing projects doing such phenomenal work in DeFi, right? Like Dex is of course a one use case, but then when you see people doing amazing job in lending, then I mean everything, you look at what Compound is doing, what like people are building solutions on top of it. Like Matic is doing an amazing job in integrating with DeFi ecosystem. So I think that like there are amazing things happening out there. And so this is one use case of crypto. I'm really like this one aspect of crypto I'm really excited about, because it has huge potential to even kind of coincide and transform the traditional finance like we see it today, right? Like especially when you look at all these neo banks and all coming up, I mean, together I think there are crazy possibilities today. But the thing is, it's very very nascent
Hmm.
right now, and I want to see it
Right.
mature faster, and of course like watch the use cases unfold.
Absolutely. I believe that DeFi is like, all of these platforms that are coming up, they are aiming to solve a problem or they are already solving a problem which is very relevant for a certain section of the society. So I think that it is so important that, people have a say in their financial freedom, in the way their money is being spent or is being utilized. So DeFi kind of gives
Mhm.
them back that power. And as you said, that, it's a very exciting space to watch out for. And we are just, I believe that maturity will come. Right now there is so many solutions, and after it takes basically a good bear run to figure out which projects will kind of live to survive, which is the sad
True,
truth,
true.
because a lot of projects are they're just there when sun is shining, they make hay, but otherwise they kind of disappear. But yeah, I do believe that a lot of people are building some really great solutions in the DeFi space. So now
True.
we've talked about like a lot of trends. So what projects are like, this is obviously not financial advice, but if you had to like talk about the top five tokens in your portfolio, which one would they be? This is not financial
uh,
advice, obviously.
uh,
Disclaimer is there. But yeah, I would love to know.
well, I don't think I'm holding five tokens right now, but so yeah, but I'm surely holding Bitcoin. I'm holding Ether. I'm also, of course,
Hmm.
I'm holding WRX. I've
Right.
been holding Matic as well, though I think I
Hmm.
sold it recently, and
Yeah.
I'm holding some Tron. That's it. But
Okay.
I've been keeping an eye out on BAT. But I mean, I heavily use Brave on my phone, and but yeah, I think it's high time that probably I should just buy some BAT as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay. So
I
these
mean,
are all good
I've been kind of
choices.
stalking. Yeah, I've been like stalking Brave for quite a bit, but never just
Uh,
ended up buying it. So like, why not?
uh, right, yeah, okay. That sounds like those are like solid projects that you're holding on to. So you would consider yourself like more of a hodler than a trader.
Definitely. Hodler all the way.
Yeah, I think that, I would say that for myself as well because, trading is like a full-time job. I don't know how do people do it,
Oh, right.
Yeah, like I don't even know how do people do it, but yeah, this is we are pretty much again in the same boat here. So okay,
Yeah.
very exciting with all of these projects coming in. Who would you recommend as good thought leaders or books that you would recommend to people who are looking to get into this space?
Books, definitely. I mean, there are like a lot of books to be honest. But one book that even at Wazirex, everyone keep recommending is of course like the Bitcoin Standard and the Internet of Money.
Right.
These kind of books. But
Internet, yeah.
yes, and but more than books, I would say if there is anyone who's looking to learn or read about crypto, I think it's amazing. You can just go out, open any blog. I mean, there are like so many educational articles today, right? And they're compact, they're insightful, they're witty, right? And I mean, there are plenty resources out there.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. Because, but the thing that I feel is that there are so many resources. At times, it's like, saying that, okay, you
That's
can
true.
learn this off Google, right? It's very overwhelming
Hmm.
because, some people need to be nevertheless like pointed in the right direction. So again, information dissemination becomes so important, and choosing who you are following also becomes very important
Agree.
because, you can't just follow anybody like at random because you don't know whether they have the right kind of information. So the trusted ones would be perhaps people who are already like founders or entrepreneurs who are working in the space who've built like a product. They might be like a
Hmm.
good fit for you to sort of follow and get their opinions.
That's true. I agree with that. So besides see these books and some educational articles, one should definitely follow the top 10 projects. I mean, you can check out what the top 10 projects are, right? And follow their team,
Right.
read their blogs, and understand what they are doing. And then there are so many like good Telegram channels, like like the channels by let's say Cointelegraph, or if you want to understand the market a little better, then there is Glassnode, right? So I mean, there's so many
Right.
like interesting platforms. You can just find them and you can start reading about it. I mean, just follow their news,
Yeah.
consume it, and eventually then you get a hang of
Yeah.
it, right? Like, I mean, if you have any questions, you like if you are confused about something, you just like Google that part and what's happening. At least that's how I learned, the concepts when I was new at it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you learn A by doing, getting your hands dirty and, getting into the game, or by you
Hmm.
sort of following the information that is already there and the tried and tested the information and tried and tested actions that these people have already taken who have actually made a dent in this space. So
Hmm.
you can be rest assured that you're not really gonna completely F it up. Obviously, you have to do your own research, and that is something that everybody kind of reiterates again and again because it's very easy to just sort of follow somebody blindly, and then you kind of that would be like a mistake basically because
Hmm.
if they because everybody is human, right? And Tour is human.
Right. So there is one thing I keep telling people, especially like, of course, with the whole, with Elon Musk and a lot of celebrities endorsing crypto. Of course, a lot of
Right.
my family members and all also woke up to the crypto frenzy. And then they used to come to me
Right.
asking, hey, which crypto should I buy and all that. But one thing I've always
Hmm.
told, like even relatives or anyone who asks me about, like crypto advice. So of course, instead of finding which crypto to invest in to like make money, don't look at it like a get quick rich scheme, right? It's not that.
Yeah,
So
very
first of
important.
all, this
Yeah.
is exactly where you have to stop and change your perception. Think of it first, understand, if you don't even know what a blockchain is or a crypto is, then you shouldn't buy it, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
understand that today, anyway, in India, the whole financial literacy is very low. We don't understand a lot of assets, whether it's traditional or non-traditional. There is very
Right.
little understanding around it, but you should at least know the
Hmm.
basics, of where your money is going in before putting it there. And what I also tell them is that put a little money somewhere. Don't put a lot of money, but very little money, something which you're
Hmm.
absolutely okay, you'd be okay to lose. So as soon as you have skin in the
Right.
game, then you'd be more incentivized to read it, right? So read and learn
Absolutely.
about it. And and spend wisely. So yeah.
Yeah, no, those are really good suggestions because, as I said, you get your hands dirty, you get into the game, and then you will be motivated to learn more about it. And then there will be a hyper learning curve for you if you're the curious kind. You will learn about the monetary system and, centralization of power and whatnot. And it'll really open up your mind to the range of possibilities that are opened
Exactly.
up by just this technology. So, yeah, those
Agree.
are really good suggestions. Now, coming to women in this space, so the gender gap. This is something that I discuss with all females that are on the podcast. Essentially, what do you think about the gender gap, and who are women role models that you follow in this space?
See, of course, there is no denying the fact that there is an immense gender gap in crypto industry today. And
Hmm.
again, so the primary reason so far has been, how crypto is seen publicly, right? So like it's still at kind of an intersection of finance and tech, both the spaces which are highly underrepresented by women, right? So like this whole crypto needs like a big PR do over, and I think it's upon us, like the women in the space, to do that. Because and what we can do to bridge this gap is probably be more vocal about our thoughts and opinions. Okay. And I mean, if you're in the space, talk about it, interact. Earlier I used to be very intimidated about seeing all the men in the space. I'm being very candid, okay? Because I, in like a lot
Right.
of groups and all, I probably used to be like the only woman, and it used to terrify
Yeah.
the shit out of me. And
Yeah. I know how
I
that
couldn't
feels.
voice my
Yeah.
opinions. And even if someone would say something which didn't make sense, I didn't even have the courage to contradict them or something. I don't know, I just didn't want to be ridiculed probably. But I
Yeah.
think when we keep doing it, it kind of encourages more women to come, even if they're like silently mute spectators in a group. So of course it will encourage them, and of course be more active in the space. And again, like kind of like keep on like a domino effect, right? Like keep encouraging more women to come in the space. Also, like from as someone who has come from a very non-technical background, so I keep talking
Yeah.
about what all you can do to pursue a career in the space. Because fine, like investment is one side of things.
Yeah.
There are plenty of career opportunities as well, right? Like don't think of it crypto that it's only a tech space, or you must know solidity to be a developer, or something like that,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So I keep talking about the career opportunities in the space as well. And again, this is something I hope it helps others. Yeah. And actually,
Yeah.
every time I
Yeah.
meet, yeah, sorry, go on, please.
No, no, please go ahead. I was just agreeing with you. I think what you said
Mhm.
is something that I keep saying a lot, that it's not just for the tech people that crypto is there. And what you said about coming from a non-tech background. So I started like my entrepreneurial journey as like a non-tech founder. And well, I came from a non-tech background, but I have only in my all of these 12, 13 years that I've been in the space, I've just founded tech ventures. I'm a self-taught techie. So what, it's easy to grasp things, and there is no, I don't believe that you're ever too old to sort of learn. And you can
Mhm.
always learn, but you don't necessarily have to be a coder to be in this space. So
So
that is
true.
something very important that that needs to be reiterated again and again, because people get intimidated by the idea of just that, okay, this is deep tech and we don't come from that background. That's wrong. You can, and there's space for everybody here. This entire gender gap thing, I completely understand where you're coming from, because I know that how that feels, like being the only woman in the room, like or around that table. It's there, that gender gap is very, very present, but the only way I believe that it can be perhaps reduced is by representation, whereby carving the path for other women. When they see that, okay, yeah, this is not just a space for men, like women belong everywhere. So maybe they can be given some hope, or they can be inspired to take the next step.
Agree. Could not agree more. In fact, the other day, I remember reading Rachel's article on Cointelegraph about how, female-led blockchain events probably inspire more women to participate in crypto in a long-term basis. And I wrote
Right.
to her. I told her how inspired I was after reading her post, and how much I agreed with it. And especially with the whole,
Yeah.
like, again, the gap which is so apparent today. And so I remember something from there. So for me, in fact, I remember in my early days, I read, you remember Preeti Kasireddy, right? So it
Right.
was
Yeah.
her Medium articles that inspired me to read more about crypto. In fact, her
Yeah.
posts kind of simplified things for me a lot. And I think
Yeah.
from there, it was pretty much a piece of cake. And
Hmm.
I remember meeting her at blockchain event last year, and I was
Hmm.
so excited. I was so inspired to be in the same room as her. And I made sure, like, I made a point to tell her that it was your posts, your content, that helped me on board to crypto. And I'm sure it must have
Hmm.
inspired many other people. But now, like, today, as of today, like, while talking to you, I feel like I also owe to a lot of women, like, a lot of
Yeah,
like young women like my sister, or any other young kids, I owe it to them to kind of simplify things, even further, and make sure to bridge the gap in my own way, and make sure that they, like, make sure to decode crypto for them, and encourage more participation in this space, especially for women.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The responsibility lies very heavily on our shoulders. I believe that, we kind of have to make
Mhm.
sure that there are that we are encouraging women around us to actually go after not just financial freedom and the freedom of choice. Those like are the overarching things that you need to be able to have freedom of choice and have financial freedom to ultimately live out your potential, right? You can't even begin to think about living your potential if you don't have those two very basic things. And somehow those two
True.
very basic things are denied to women, like all over the world. It's not just here.
Agreed, agreed. And the thing is, when we see more women in the space, I think there would be less stereotyping as well, right? Because
Yeah,
even today, as a
absolutely.
woman, like, especially if there are like fewer women in any group or platform, I don't know why people think that it's very easy to speak to you, undermine you, all that you have
Mm.
worked hard for, and reduce you just to your gender, and they think that they
Mm.
can get away with that, right? I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
probably. And it kind of gets me, it annoys the hell out of me
Oh, it makes
sometimes.
me angry. You are being so nice. I get angry. I can get physically violent by the number of times. Like now it doesn't happen so often. But when I
Oh
started
God.
off, like it was very annoying. Like a woman in deep tech from Delhi and not Bangalore. So there were so many stereotypes, right? Because
I
usually
know,
you
right?
associate tech to come from Bangalore, and then you don't expect the girl to be there. I've had so many times, and I'm talking to people about cloud and systems which are completely agnostic in nature and layers and droplets, and they're just looking at me and waiting for my co-founder to actually kind of confirm, or waiting or asking me. Some people have straight out asked me, "Is this
Wow.
business your father, or is it like your husband's?" And I'm like, really, like that is where your mind is at. I'm here talking to you about path-breaking technology, and that is the first thing that you can think. So yeah,
It
I
does.
totally get it. It's aggravating. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it annoys me a lot sometimes. But again, you just gotta tell yourself that it's okay. Like, these
Yeah.
people don't
Who
matter.
cares?
You're more than that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You
And
don't owe, you don't see, you don't owe anybody any explanation, and you just have to sort of carve your own path, do your own thing, and making sure that you're taking people along with you for this ride to encourage more participation. But and people like those, they it's not about so much about your words, it's more about your actions. You shut them up with your actions. And I am not like sort of saying that okay, don't use your words, use your words. But what I'm saying is, like there's just like use 1/10 of your energy in shutting them up with your words. Rest of it, put it in your actions, because there's no point in being aggravated and angry because some people are still stuck in some old age and they have these idiotic thinking patterns.
agree.
All right, okay. So this has been a really fun conversation. This kind of brings me, we've already covered it. Usually I ask the people who come on the show on how, you would advise people who are, on the outside to start living on blockchain, but we've kind of covered that. So the last question that I'll, put you through here would be, what are your future plans? Like, where do you see yourself going? Where do you see WazirX going in the next, 5 years, the next decade? What does it hold for you?
I definitely see WazirX as, becoming the first ever crypto unicorn of India. And
Hmm.
I'm pretty excited that I'm a part of such a like a phenomenal company, and of course being seeing witnessing its growth as we speak. And in my plans, I don't know if there's any going back. I think crypto has ruined me. I don't
Yeah.
know. I cannot see myself in anything else other than blockchain or crypto. And
Yeah.
exactly, that's what it is. This industry has ruined me. And
Absolutely.
but
I
yeah,
think that,
but what?
like we have to be here only. We live and die.
Oh man, yeah, but pretty
Yeah,
exciting
that is
times.
true. Yeah, very exciting. I think once this, once you get into this industry, I think there is no looking back. You wouldn't want to go back to the other sectors because this is just a very, very dynamic and exciting space. Like we probably sound like crazy people, like trying to encourage other people to join a cult, but the truth is, it is like a cult. Like you because once you get involved, you don't want to leave.
Oh God, that's true. That's so true.
Oh,
But
man,
it's very
this has been
interesting
such a
space, you know.
yeah, it is
Again,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So once you start reading about it, it's a rabbit hole. You're down there, and that's it. No recovering from it.
Yep.
So my sister, she just entered. I mean, she's pretty young, and she started, reading about crypto in probably Jan or Feb 2021, and now
Right.
she's so deep into it, and she's reading about technical analysis and everything else. She's obsessed with price charts right now. And I was like, "Hey, dude, you're goner. You're absolutely goner. Like, welcome to this club."
Yeah, welcome to this other side of the door. My friend has gone
Right,
back.
right.
Amazing.
That's true.
No, but it's good. I believe that this is blockchain is a great equalizer, and crypto is therefore a really great equalizer. So I think that it's just going to grow as an industry with or without the policy support. I'm hoping that it be with the policy support because we don't want India to be left behind. But yeah, like it's been such a great conversation. Like I always love speaking to women in this space because I identify with a lot of what they say and what they've experienced. So it has been an absolutely lovely chat with you, Priyanka. Any parting thoughts before we wrap this up?
No, thank you for inviting me, Tarusha. It was amazing interacting with you. And I think you added that, it's always, I don't know, I feel very good about, after interacting with any woman in this space. And it just kind of feels that, you're not alone. It
Yeah.
gives you that feeling. So I just hope that, we keep seeing, like more and more women participate in the space. And yeah, man, continue up with the phenomenal work you're doing. And I hope to see more women on your podcast soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's been lovely speaking to you. Please stay safe.
You too. Thank you.